just going to have a look at a diet for a little Australian stock horse named Ash, just to show how Feed Excel works under a few different scenarios. So first thing we do is we click on My Horses and Diets, and then because Ash is a new horse in this system, I'm going to click Create Horse, and we'll start entering her details. So first the name, so Ash, and then she's an Australian stock horse. We just select the breed. She's a mare. Currently being worked 5 days a week, so I'm going to put her down as moderate work here. And born in 2013, and because she's a mature horse, I don't need to put her birth month there. Now as her body weight, we've used her height and her build to estimate she weighs 480 kilos, so we'll enter that there. She's a good doer, which a lot of stock horses are. Currently in good condition, so I'm going to select a moderate score. I haven't scored this horse, but the score doesn't actually make any difference to the end results. It's more just to make you think about what condition your horse is, so that you can answer this next question, which is, would you like your horse to lose weight, maintain weight, or gain weight? So Ash's owner has said that she wants Ash to maintain weight, and then Ash doesn't have any conditions, so we could enter here that, you know, she's prone to conditions like colic or laminitis, tying up, but she doesn't have any conditions, so I'm just going to click none there, and then we go to the next step, where we enter the pasture. So Ash's owner has sent me some photos of their pasture. She's out on the pasture 24/7, so I'll select here that she has 16 to 24 hours of access per day. And then I'm going to use, this is an Australian horse, so I'm going to use this visual pasture selector here, and I'll select good quality pasture. So it is green. It's probably not growing a whole lot at this time of year, so we've just gone into winter. So while it is bright green, it's probably not really growing, and will have matured off slightly. So I'll just select this good C3 type grass for her, and then click next step. And then we want to create the diet. So I've got the diet information from Ash's owner. I always like to add the forage first, just because we should always be thinking add your forage first to a diet, because that's the most important thing to put in a horse's diet. And I just personally like the forage to go in first and sit down in the bottom of the diet. So Ash is getting wheat and hay, which is down here. And we'll just choose the good quality. And she's getting 1 biscuit a day. So I'm going to estimate that that's around 1.5 kilos of wheat and hay. It will be variable, so if you are feeding hay, it's always good to grab a baggage scale or fish scales, or even your bathroom scales, and stick the hay on that you're feeding, and just get an accurate weight. And then she's getting a 50-50 chaff mix, so we'll add that in there, and getting a kilo of that a day, which is about 4 2-litre dippers, and again, always good to weigh that. Now she's getting 2 different feeds, so she's getting the Pride's Easy result. So the easiest way to find feeds, I find, is just to type the names in there. So she's getting 0.5 kilograms of that per day, and then she's also getting Biomare Cube. So I'll search for that as well, and add that in there. All right, so that's everything that Ash is getting. I'm just going to say here June diet, so that we've got a record of the name of the diet, and it makes sense later when you go back into your account to have a look. So next thing we do is come through to the results, and you'll get this summary to tell you very quickly as an overview what's in this diet. So the energy looks like it's okay. We'll check that in a minute. The protein and amino acid requirements are being met. There's some deficiencies in a few minerals and some vitamins that we'll take a look at. It's telling us total feed intake and forage intake are both at good levels, and there's a bit of other information there about feeding management and the forage intake. So if you're a numbers person, you can come to this pink tab, which is the nutrient table, and here it will show you what your horses, so in this case what Ash's recommended daily intake is of all of these nutrients. So we look here, for example, at copper, we can see that Ash requires 162 milligrams of copper per day, but her diet currently is only supplying 110 milligrams of copper per day. So that 67.7% of her requirement is being met, and FeedXL is telling us that we need to increase that. I'm much more of a visual person, so I like to use the nutrient graph, which is on this blue tab here, and it gives us a very quick overview of what's going on in the diet. But on the nutrient table, I'll just show you quickly down the bottom, there's some information there that won't show up on the graph. So this total intake to make sure that Ash is getting enough feed. This one's really important, total forage, to make sure that the minimum forage requirement is being met, which it is easily, which is great in this diet. And then it'll give you the amount of grain being fed and some ratios. And you can click this button here in the premium plan to show more ratios, so you can also see calcium to magnesium and iron to copper to zinc to manganese is sitting down there as well. So if we go to the nutrient graph, we can see energy requirement is well and truly being met, and in fact exceeded. So what I would do in this situation is actually assess Ash and say, okay, Ash, are you losing weight, gaining weight, holding weight? What's going on? And if she's maintaining her weight or condition, I should say, so not getting too fat on this diet, then there's nothing that you need to do. So even though energy is looking a little bit high there, what she's telling you is more important than what FeedXL tells you from an energy, digestible energy or calorie perspective. So just assess her, condition score her, make sure that she's not gaining weight. If she is gaining weight, you might need to cut back the amount of feed that you're using. If she's not gaining weight, then that level of feed is okay. The issue in this diet that I can see is the amount of feed that you're giving her is not actually able to meet the trace mineral and vitamin requirements. So the classic deficiencies that we see all the time, copper, zinc, selenium and iodine, that are so common, and then the two most common vitamin deficiencies as well, vitamin E and vitamin B1. So what's going on here is you've taken two feeds that are designed to be fed at much higher levels than half a kilo or collectively a kilo per day. But because Ash doesn't need a lot of calories, you've limited the amount of those feeds, which is good. It's exactly what you need to do. But in limiting the calories, you've also limited the trace mineral intake. So what I'm going to suggest for Ash is that you probably look at, instead of using a feed or the two complete feeds, you look at instead using a balancer pellet. So if we go back, so we can click on this prepare diet up here and create another diet. So we'll just really quickly add the wheat and hay in again. So I won't change any of her forage because you know your pasture situation and forage situation best. So we had a kilo of the 50-50 chaff, and we had 1.5 kilos of the hay. But then what I'm going to do is find one of the prides. So using prides, so I'll stay with the prides range. One of the prides balances. So if we look for one that's called 250, prides 250. Here we go. Premium 250. So if we find one here, and the feeding rate for this one is 200 grams per 100 kilos of body weight. So that'll put us, if we put her in at 850 grams per day, what we should see is that the calorie intake is still under control, but all those vitamin mineral levels are actually met. So if we have a look here at the nutrient graph now, you can see that all those deficiencies of those various minerals have disappeared. That is my dog scratching to get out of the door. And we could actually reduce that 850 grams a little bit. So you can see all of the mineral requirements are met. So we could go down. Let's try just going down just to save you a little bit each day on feed costs. We'll just go down to 750 grams and see if that works. So you're still meeting all of your requirements in 750 grams. You could in fact go down a little bit lower because you're still a little bit above your requirement here on copper, zinc, selenium and iodine. So it could even go down to 700 grams. The other thing you could have done in this situation with Ash, if I just take the the Easy Balanced out, go back to the results, so all the deficiencies will come back again. But see this button up here, this find supplements to fix this diet. If we click this, it'll actually go, FeedXL will actually then go through its database and find the best fit for us for Ash's diet. And again, if we want to stay with the Pride's range, because that's what Ash's owner is currently feeding, we'll just go through the list and find a recommendation from the Pride's range. So let's change this out to 25 entries and we'll have a look. So these ones are ranked top to bottom. So it's actually saying the Pride's Easy Balanced Essentials 150 at 750 grams is the best fit. So we could easily do that. Pippa, come here. Come here, Pippa. Oh, naming the diet that. We'll say revised diet, and we'll type Essentials 150 in there to search. I'll add that, and then we'll say 750 grams. So I probably went a little bit too quick then for you all to see. So here it is here, this Pride's Easy Balanced Essentials 150, and then we have a look here for the dose amount. So it's telling us that if we feed it at 749.6 grams, which I think we can very safely round up to 750 grams, it will meet all of our requirements. So we've added that particular balancer pellet and we've added it at 750 grams. So if we have a look at the results now, we should see that all the nutrient requirements are nicely met. So that for me, this horse really probably doesn't need a feed as such. I think you're better off having a balancer pellet in there. And then if you step the work up, or if you find that she does need a little bit of extra feed, what you might look at doing is using the balancer pellet together with either the probably the Easy Result, so that you can adjust energy requirement. And you would use FeedXL, like if you needed some extra energy and you wanted to put, say, 400 grams of Easy Result in, you could add the 400 grams and then just reduce your balancer pellet down a little bit just to keep your vitamin and mineral levels at the right level, but without overfeeding, because that just makes the diet unnecessarily expensive. So there you go. There's some ideas for Ash.